Today we're just doing a status check of where we are with work requirements in Wisconsin's Medicaid program. This is a conversation that's been going on since 2017 and that keeps changing as we move forward. So let's just see where we are now. Now, let's give a little history first. States are allowed to ask the federal government for a waiver, a Section 1115 demonstration waiver that says we want to do Medicaid differently in our state than what the federal standard is. And because we can deliver services better, we can change the services, or we can do payment differently than what you're envisioning, federal government. And Wisconsin used that mechanism, that 1115 demonstration waiver, to say we want to do Medicaid differently in Wisconsin. We want to require work to keep your Medicaid. And the feds approved that. That approval came in at the end of 2018. Now it said it's going to be implemented sometime in 2019, but we had a change of administration in Wisconsin at that time. What the former administration asked for was monthly premiums, a copay for non-emergent use of the emergency room, work requirements of 80 hours per month, time-limit Badger Care Plus. Your Badger Care Plus will be terminated if you're not working, and health risk assessment. Other requests that were put to the federal government, such as drug testing, were denied. But the rest of those largely stand. So now let's transition to our new governor that says, I don't really like a lot of these things that the former administration proposed and got permission to do. Now, typically, when there's a change in administration like that, it's up to the governor and his health secretary to determine if they want to move forward with the waiver as approved, make changes, or have an ongoing conversation with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to see what best fits the state at that time. So before that could happen, Wisconsin's legislature called for an extraordinary session, and they passed some lame duck bills that the former governor signed right before he left office that said you can't do that. You can't change this waiver in any way, shape, or form. You have to implement it as approved by the federal government. If you want to make changes, they have to be signed off by the Joint Finance Committee, and there's got to be a legislative process that goes with that. That is where we were left at the end of December, moving into January. Fast forward to January 7th, it's the inauguration date of the new governor. Fast forward to that afternoon, and a couple weeks later, we now have a series of lawsuits that have been filed to challenge the validity of those extraordinary session bills that were signed into law that lame duck session. That is being challenged. So everything is just kind of on hold. What is happening among the people of Wisconsin is confusion of, do we have to prove that we're working to keep our Badger Care Plus or Medicaid? What do we actually have to do? And then the rule is, don't expect any changes anytime soon. Things stay exactly the way they are. Eligibility stays exactly the way it is. You will be notified if there's any change in what's requested of you. You will be notified by the Department of Health Services. If you're a Badger Care Plus enrollee right now, you would get a letter and a notice telling you if anything were different and if any other requirements had changed. So there is a process that will be established moving forward one way or the other, and it's important that you keep up with those notices coming to you from the Department of Health Services. Now, the federal approval itself was questionable. Wisconsin is the first state without Medicaid expansion to get approval for its work requirements in Medicaid. It's the first state to get approval to terminate Medicaid for low-income enrollees who don't pay their premiums. Other states are struggling with work requirements as well and are also caught up in litigation, Kentucky and Arkansas being the most notable. You can read that approval letter that came into the feds to the state, and we will keep you posted if anything changes one way or the other of how work requirements may be implemented in the state of Wisconsin. Thanks for watching.